Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Hello, changemakers. We're back. It's the DEX Show. Though I'm flying solo today. No Tim Flower, who's on a well-earned sabbatical following his DEX World Tour. And we, it's kind of almost fitting because we have a very kind of, I think, a very British themed guest and organization to join this solo British host, and that is Jack Bourne, head of IT operations at the British Transport Police. Hello, Jack. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, Tom. Thanks for having me over.
Great pleasure, great pleasure. Very interesting organization, as we'll get to, especially from an IT perspective. But for the listeners, they can't see it, but I have a big, like, a happy birthday, what do you say, like bunting behind me. And so Jack came and said, well, happy birthday if it's your birthday. And it's not exactly, but Jack, but we are moving through birthday season in my household. So all of my children, and then at the tail end myself, we all have like congested number of birthdays between April and May. There's like 5 in quick succession. So we put up some bunting at the beginning of it. We just leave it there for like 8 weeks, basically. That's it.
Well, hey, who knows? When this is released, it might be one of your children's birthdays or someone in the household's birthdays. Happy birthday to them.
That's a really good point. I don't actually register when it's released. We may have all grown up many years by then. I'm sure it won't be that long. But listen, I mean, thanks so much for joining us. And I think a great place to start, as I say, we do have a very global audience out there. And I wonder how unique a service like the British Transport Police is or isn't internationally, Jack. So let's begin, as it were, with the basics. How would you describe the structure and mission of the BTP, first of all?
Yeah, so great question. I'm really glad to have the opportunity to obviously talk about British Transport Police. So we are the guardians of the railway. We're a specialist and national police force that is responsible for policing the railway network across England, Scotland and Wales. And just to put that into sort of perspective, that's roughly 1.8 billion passenger rail journeys annually, and billions of freight obviously traveling on the rail network throughout that time as well. Our mission in terms of BTP is obviously working together, protecting the rail community and creating that hostile environment for crime and criminality. And what we do is we ensure the security of millions of people who use the railway in Britain, and we provide policing services to rail operators, their staff, passengers, covering not only the national rail network, but also systems like the London Underground, Docklands Light Railway, and various, obviously, tram systems. And our vision really is to be that sort of world-leading police force that's trusted to provide safe, reliable railway, helping and making people get home on time and safely. And what I love about BTP is what some of your kind of listeners will be thinking really is, okay, yeah, we're a similar organisation to many out there with our hardware, perhaps our laptops, our HR, our people systems, our finance systems, etc. But we've got some really cool technology as well, drones. And capabilities with dogs and firearms, tons of CCTV, sophisticated network. It's all there to, I guess, gather intelligence and support criminal investigations. And it's really rewarding to know that you're having that direct impact, and what you're doing within an IT environment is having that direct impact on supporting, protecting, helping people and defeating criminality.
Well said. And we don't have any of those terrifying AI robot dogs yet, do you, Jack? There's not.
No, I did see an interesting article the other day in terms of holographic policing. So who knows what the future will hold in that respect?
I don't know. Yeah, will we live to see the day where we're sat on a train and a sort of one of those robot dogs kind of pads past us, gives us a quick scan of our face? Terrifying prospect. That I was just curious before we get into it, Jack. Do you know that, like, is the institution of the transport police in this country relatively unique, completely normal in terms of there's a French transport police and an American transport police? Do you have that perspective? I guess if so, you probably meet colleagues from around the world sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we have a lot of sort of international relationships. Obviously, there's Interpol across the top as well, supporting, and we have that kind of great relationship. And if you look at kind of some of our policing with the Eurostar, with that kind of direct link in as well, we cross border police, and I guess that's our uniqueness in terms of being that national force where we operate with everybody. We touch all of their other home office forces that are out there, and like you say, that international boundaries as well. We've done some great stuff around the globe, but in terms of supporting that policing and almost giving that specialist BTP touch and spin on policing on that kind of national scale to kind of demonstrate the capabilities that we really have and are capable of doing.
Fantastic. And you can't really think of a sort of a more mobile, as it were, organization than transport police, right? So what are some of the sort of standout challenges that come with supporting what is, I assume, pretty dispersed, pretty mobile workforce overall?
Yeah, indeed, and I guess thing spot on the nail there really with that geographical spread. Hardware support can obviously be challenging, covering the kind of three countries there with England, Scotland, and Wales. And some users or some employees may never see an IT resource in their career, and that could be a very long career, hopefully, with us at BTP, because we are spanned across 170 different sites across those three countries. And the additional challenge we have within there as well is obviously shift patterns of officers. And staff working throughout different times in the night, in the day, and there's so many varied roles, I guess, within BTP. It's not just what people may think or assume with that kind of frontline officer, or that Bobby on the beat, and then that kind of support staff in the background. We within officers alone, there are so many different varied roles, and almost personas, if you like, in terms of their digital experience that they use and have. And I guess cross-pollination can be challenging because of that dispersed workforce, as you kind of said. So they're kind of leaning over the shoulder. And somebody in the office said to me the other day, "Oh yeah, we're trying to do something like this. What capabilities have we got?" And it was almost obvious to me, but that kind of cross pollination, where you think 170 sites, 5,000 roughly employees, there's going to be times where people won't have that, I guess, opportunity for that cross pollination, and therefore systems that help us with collaboration and communication technology is really important in our organization. And there's always a right time as well. In terms of communication, I always say, if we're leading change and technology change, don't go too soon with the communication. Who wants to know that this thing is coming when they're really busy and bogged down with their day-to-day work of constant updates saying this thing is coming, it's coming, it's coming. I think what the feedback is that we have is, no, tell us when it's imminent. Tell us when it's almost coming, because sometimes change can be slow. Sometimes change can be coming for a long time, and we can be excited about things, but make it relevant to their end users so they can more easily adopt it and understand it at the point and time that's relevant and best sort of worthy to them, really.
Absolutely. And I don't think on the DEX show we've tended to associate like policing and digital employee experience, but obviously to you, DEX is important, and maybe part of that is understanding what to you and your employees good digital experience looks like. And I say employees, obviously, it could be officer, it could be a staff member on the front lines.
Yeah, indeed. And for me, agile working, and having efficient and effective digital ways of working is key across everything that they do. And I guess, like you say, with an organization like ours, some kind of, I guess, buzzwords that are kind of real resonate with me and key in this area is that mobility, that connectivity, and that communication are so key. And one which I think is almost underestimated at time is simplicity. I think at times, particularly in sometimes a technology world, we can perhaps over engineer things or make things perhaps more complex than they need to be. And I guess simplicity for me around a digital employee experience is one of the foundations that we should all kind of start with and link with. And something that I've recently been doing and trying to embed across British Transport Police at the moment is embedding guiding principles, which for me will help us with digital adoption. And these digital kind of guiding principles help kind of give a strategy directive or establish boundaries, allow us for something to work within. And for me, that those things and those guiding principles, they need to be relevant, long lasting, have rationale for existence, be easily digestible, and of course followed. So for me, things like customer experience, simplicity, security, requirements driven, and exploiting and managing data are absolutely prime examples of guiding principles that we should almost use and deploy across all of our work and things and change that we are doing or delivering.
Absolutely. I mean, in your context, they're anything but sort of hollow buzzwords, are they? They're kind of deeply intrinsic to what it means to actually deliver a service.
And I guess you're spot on there. They could be buzzwords, perhaps. If not implemented well, it's about championing that change to drive it home, make sure it's understood, and why they're there in the first place. Because I guess without guiding principles, change could go off on a tangent and not go the right way or the way that it's proposed to. And if you miss off that employee end user experience and you're delivering change, guess what? Your change may not be as accepted as what you'd have perhaps hoped.
I mean, look, in the world of policing, we may or may not be far from the aforementioned robot dog that I seem to have a bit of a fixation with. Right. But we are a way off, I would say, from the precogs of Minority Report notoriety. If you've seen that movie, Jack, we've got they see pre-crime. They're like psychic technological police force, but we have an equivalent, real world equivalent in IT, right? Which is proactive IT, preventative IT. What does it mean at the British Transport Police? What does it mean for you? How do you define it? Why does it matter? And how far along that kind of endless journey to proactivity or preventative, predictive IT are you?
Yeah, so I think you're right. I think it is a journey. I think is the first thing to kind of call out. For me, that kind of proactive analysis really is receiving those alerts and analysis and being aware of it to then be able to take that corrective action. Okay, we need to use analytics to inform decision making. We do it throughout our daily lives, and in IT, it's no different. We gather the data, we pinpoint therefore what the data says, and then we're able to act upon it. Okay, so for me, in terms of that kind of proactive experience, it's about pinpointing software and versions and being able to push updates and take that corrective action to overcome effectively the issue that might be presenting itself. And I guess what we tend to see, and probably is relatable across many organizations, is those that suffer in silence, perhaps those that maybe don't raise those technology service desk calls, and perhaps suffer in silence. And I guess proactivity can help to overcome that by investigating, looking at some of those issues, looking at some of those trends, and thinking, okay, what can we do about this to effectively improve the end user experience? So for us, perhaps we're on the journey. I think for next year, it's a real key ambition for me to be exploring it further around how we move from that reactive to proactive, also with a preventative mindset at the end of it. Okay, even if the less the end user knows about the issues that they have experienced or may be about to experience, and the faster, quicker we can resolve them, whether that be in the background without them knowing or with them, the faster, quicker we can do that with the less they know about it. Obviously, the greater the end user experience is going to be for them.
No, fantastic. And can you give us an example, Jack? Like one super concrete example of how DEX positively impacts the BTP to kind of bring that to life a little more kind of precisely?
Yeah, definitely. And the first one that springs to mind really is, and it seems so simple in practice. Yeah, its effectiveness is incredible. It's a remote restart campaign, and I guess what we saw and what we have seen across British Transport Police is the typical service desk supporting end users with calls for service by simply saying, have you turned it on and turned it off again, right? Something familiar with the ages gone by, the simple switch it off, switch it on again. Has it resolved your issue? And I guess some of that, from a technical perspective, it's not too technical. It's probably likely because of background updates or policies not being applied, and therefore a good old fashioned reboot or a kick is what's needed. And what we did was we kind of understood this end user experience of maybe not shutting down a laptop or restarting at night. So I can simply start it up in the morning the next day and continue where I left off. What we needed to do is kind of overcome that so that updates would be pushed out, restarts would occur. And what we did was deploy a remote restart campaign, which could only be deferred a couple of times. And that significantly improved the end user experience, because that meant that policies are applied, updates occurred pretty rapidly, and people were on the latest and best and greatest versions that we know are in support, and delivering the best end user experience that they could ask for, really. So for me, remote restart campaign is definitely one that's been a real success for us. And if I may, Tom, a second one that pops into mind while talking to you about this one is actually utilizing, again, data and analytics to inform that end user experience. And what we're doing at the moment is kind of on that modern management journey, with a new platform for device management. And we've seen some great improvements across things like boot time and DEX scores. And just to put that into perspective, with that kind of yes, it's a mass upgrade of a new platform around device management in life management. The average boot time has actually changed from 2 minutes down to just 39 seconds. And across other scores, we've seen the DEX score increase from a 31 up to something like an 88. So the work that we're doing around change in the background, around all of our systems, platforms, and services, we're seeing some real great improvements, and the use of analytics is really helping us to understand, see, and engage with that end user experience and that end user journey, and be reassured that the improvements and change we are making and delivering is having a real positive impact, because we can see it in the analytics and the scores coming back to us.
Absolutely. And, harkening back to your first example there, IT today should really be asking itself, have we turned it off and on again? Shouldn't it? Shouldn't be asked. It should be asking itself. Self-inquiry now. I assume elements of the BTP were technologically fairly conservative not long ago. And how would you chart the development of that perspective? Is there more strategic recognition for IT, for instance, now compared to, say, 5 years ago, would you say? And where does it go from here?
Yeah, definitely. So IT, everyone's using it, right? Name a process without it these days. It's everywhere, right? And I guess we have therefore a greater reliance on it. And therefore, we've got a greater reliance, understanding, and also desire for DEX and digital employee experience. Right? It's pivotal, and we need to be understanding how we've come through from this kind of evolution around utilization of technology. Now looking at analytical insights, and no longer is it those kind of days of supply and demand. We're actually looking at, okay, what is it that you're trying to achieve? What is your score? Utilize analytics so that we can now see, take action, be on that journey with you, rather than just a supplier providing you with something. Okay. And I guess pivotal to all of this is obviously change and adoption. I know something that you and Tim talk heavily about on your show is that kind of user adoption, and how key and pivotal that is to technology and everything that we do. It's not about just delivering something, but it's being on that journey with the end user, aligning to the strategy and the goals of the organization, and embedding technology, embedding DEX, so that we know that our people at the end of it, around what they're trying to do in their many varied roles, can achieve the outcomes that they desire in their kind of working practices, really.
Beautiful. It's a good vision. And this is a fun one for you, Jack. I was happy with this. So if you had a magic wand and you could instantly fix or automate any major challenge across your IT landscape, which would it be?
It's a great question and a great power. I must add, in terms of the magic wand, if only. Okay, so for me, I think, and something I always talk about is, I think there was an article probably quite a few years ago now, that I always refer back to seeing, which was how that the most valuable resource was no longer oil, but in fact actually was data, and therefore sort of managing and exploiting data, making sure that we're not falling behind, is a real key one. And even in any sort of police strategy or report you look at, it will refer to along the lines of something that the pace and change of today will never be this slow again. Okay, so for me, I think it's about using the magic wand to almost create integration and connectivity across policing. At times, we have many kind of blue light organizations that do the same thing in probably many different ways, with buying their own finance system, procurement system, a system that does that, an application that does that, infrastructure that does this, hardware that does this. And I think we can be joined up a lot greater and better. It's not to say that we aren't, because we are. There's a lot of great practices and processes out there where we have some great partnership working out there across blue light organizations. But in a technology and systems and application sense, I think we can have much greater into integration, connectivity across policing, blue light systems, so that we can achieve that exploitation of data and use it to its maximum best business benefit.
Right. So that I already kind of raised this with you, but just looking ahead, I know almost every professional, whatever field you're in, the truly passionate professional, they look ahead, they know exactly what excites them about their job in the coming years, exactly what they want to achieve. What stands out to you on that horizon?
So for me, improving that digital end user experience, right? No shock, considering the show that we're on here today, right? For me, yeah, it's improved that digital end user experience in a wide sense, right? How is that achieved, though? I guess is probably the key and core question, right? We need to do it by innovating new services, enhancing self-service, and streamlining processes and optimizing, really. And this is a key one that I want to pay a lot of attention to over the next year, right? We pay a lot of attention or deliver change with always adding more, or delivering this new app that does this, or this new process that does this. And we're kind of we're really good at adding more and adding more layers. But all that does is obviously leads to people perhaps doing more at times. And for me, it's using tools, skills, AI opportunities, things like that, to optimize, streamline, remove, take away, simplify for that end user experience, so that it's in a real simplistic, easy to deliver manner, so that people can be the most effective and efficient self they can be. And I guess all of that is needs to be linked to the strategic objectives of the organization. Making sure that what we are doing and delivering in terms of change, in terms of that ambition of a digital employee experience, is underpinned by that kind of organizational umbrella of organizational strategy and objectives, so that we are one.
Love it. That's a great vision and a great. Your passion is very evident, Jack. And what I was thinking earlier about the show is, yes, it's a very British theme, but what I love about it is, anybody who's visited London, anybody who's visited the UK, they've gone straight to the Gatwick Express, or they've taken the tube in from Heathrow, and, they've probably seen something about the British Transport Police. They may have seen one of your officers, surely seen one of your posters, and they've been in safe hands been in safe hands because of you, right?
And that's right. And I guess a key one I probably couldn't come on here without saying it, but a lot that will be familiar with and will play in people's heads and minds if they're thinking of us. It's say it sorted. Text
Say it sorted.
61016 if you ever need us or British Transport Police. Obviously 999 in an emergency. If not, text 61016. You'll be in direct contact over text with our control rooms and receive the support and help you may need.
And who knows, Jack, perhaps you need to well, I hope you don't, but it's the number you might want to have in mind if you're visiting the UK, perhaps for Next Think Experience 2025. You see what I did there?
See what you did. It's coming soon.
I'm just going to plug the London event today because it's only us Londoners here, okay? 30th of September to the 1st of October, London, the UK. Links will be in the shows. There'll be links to the Boston show as well. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to exclude our large American audience, I promise. Just a little plug for the London event at the Intercontinental London, the biggest, best, longest experience yet. Will you be there, Jack?
I will be there. I have my ticket. I'm signed up, and I really looking forward to it. Looking forward to meeting yourself and Tim as well.
Phenomenal. And I should say, it's at the Boston, the 14th to the 15th of October at Omni Seaport. Links in the show note. You should be at either event, depending on which part of the world you live in. Jack, great pleasure to have you on the show. Appreciate your work as an organization, and I've loved hearing a bit more about what goes into it from a kind of technological perspective. Extremely interesting, and look forward to meeting you in London this year too.
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm glad to be showcasing the work of British Transport Police.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how Next Think can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nextthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.